We're moving right along in our course. And as we move into these next two chapters of your portfolios, you should keep in mind something I said back in the beginning of the class. Unlike most of your other courses, there's not a lot of new material being sent to you in this course. Rather, it's a time for you to spend some time thinking about material that you've already received in your other classes, as well as some of the experiences that you've had in your work life and play life, your recreational life, and as well as a chance to explore something explore someone who has truly sparked your curiosity. Chapter 3, which will be due this Saturday, most of you are working on that now, it's a chance for you to look at someone who has meant something to you, some leader in our world whose contributions have been significant to you, and to look at them, not just to learn about them, although that's a fun thing to do, but to look at them critically. And by critically, I mean to take a look at them from a scientific point of view. Look at how they're living out this idea of leadership. You've spent a couple of weeks now, 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks, focusing on yourself as a leader. We've come up with our own personal philosophies of leadership. We've come up with essentially a case study for how we have been a leader, how each of you has been a leader in leading a group. The next point for you to do is to look at someone else and take a look at them as being a leader. One of the things we asked of you in the example that you gave of leading others is, how have you brought your personal leadership philosophy to life? Well, we don't have the leadership philosophy spelled out. Although you may find it in your research for the world leader that you're selecting. But as you look at them as a leader and you study what they've done in their lives, what operating principles can you find for them? It's a chance for you to kind of grab the horns of this and say, this is the leadership philosophy that they've brought to life for us. So this is what I'd like to study on this. So it's a chance for you to explore that. And when I say critically, I mean you're going to look at them and say this is what I see active there, and take a few moments to think about how does that impact what your own leadership philosophy is. What have you learned from them? What might you add? What might you avoid? You may look at someone and say, well, gee, they were a little harsh in that situation, or yes, they were successful, but at what cost to their coworkers, and do I want to do that? On the other hand, you may say, wow, I've always wondered how to handle a certain situation. Here's someone who handled something similar. I can learn from that. So incorporate those things into this discussion of a world leader. Third thing to think of on this is looking at the second part of leadership across the curriculum. Here we're going to look at the importance of critical thinking and what does it mean to think critically. So as you're looking at a world leader critically, it comes together nicely that you're looking at someone who has been a leader from a critical standpoint. You're looking at them to learn from them, to identify what is important there. So it'll fit in together nicely. The assignment as it's constructed asks you to create a diagram, to diagram something that your own, based upon what you've learned about yourself. We've had a few things that we've spent looking at learning about ourselves in this. How would you incorporate those into that hermeneutical circle that's in the diagram in Barrett, as you create your own diagram for how you would address something in a critical manner? So keep that in mind. That's what we're looking for in this. Is where do you think these things come into play? How do they help you get to the core of a problem? Because that's what that circle is doing. Is it's boring into the middle to get right to that final point. So keep that in mind. and I think you'll enjoy the readings for that and the little self-assessments on it. You've had a number of self-assessments over the course of things, the Myers-Briggs, emotional intelligence. Take those, go back, and there's another opportunity for you to reflect upon that again, bringing that Ignatian pedagogical paradigm to life. Not taking a lot of new information, but reflecting upon information that you already have. What does this tell me? What have I learned about myself? How do I come to know myself better? One of the things that we found in both Lowney and in Bowman and Deal is one of the real core attributes or traits of a leader is that they are self-aware. And by that, they know their limitations. They know where they're not limited. They know their strengths and weaknesses. They know where they operate best. And even if you're in a situation where you have to come from weakness, it's good to know that because it lets you think of strategies as to how do I put this to best use? How can I best come to a successful resolution, knowing that I'm coming at it from a standpoint that's difficult for me. Keep all that in mind as you think of your submissions for leadership across the curriculum, but also keep it in mind for yourself as you've got parts 1 and 2 back, your first 2 chapters back, and some suggestions for revisions. Well, think of how you can incorporate those things into that, and hopefully this look at a world leader will give you even more to think of for parts 1 and 2. Give you a little bit about part 4. Part 4 we call the unique project. I could call it chapter 4, but it doesn't have to be a chapter. It can be anything, and here it's known as the creative piece because it's up to you as to what it will be. Do you want it to be a photo, something? The idea is, I'm not going to tell you what it could be or can be or should be or might be. It's what you want it to be. The idea behind this fourth part is for you to come up with some symbolic statement of yourself as a leader, some symbolic exhibition of your leadership philosophy. A couple of things to think of in that. You've each enumerated a number of principles in your personal leadership philosophies. It's going to be hard, you'll be very hard-pressed to find one symbolic representation of all of that. So it's a chance, as you think about what it is that you want to say, it's a chance to prioritize things. What principle or value do I find to be both guiding for myself, but also very illustrative of myself? How will this best show myself to others? With that in mind, it means there'll be some principles you can put in there, some principles you can't put in there. You can't dump everything into one image, one song, one poem, one object. It would look pretty bizarre. If it's Christmas season, maybe you might have a Christmas tree that has an ornament for each of these things on it. I've done what I said I wouldn't do, is giving you a possibility for what things could be, but better for you to think of what it should be on yourself. But you'll think of what's one thing that I want to do. You can use that same metaphor of a Christmas tree. Many of us receive a lot of ornaments as gifts. We collect things. We see them through the year. We buy them. We don't always use all of them on the tree every year. We may do a theme of things. Maybe one year we do Victorian style ornaments. Another year we do little glass balls. Another year Star Wars figures, whatever things are that we've collected. And we may do a theme tree. We'll think of that as a possibility for your final project. As I pick a theme and follow through on that theme, recognizing there are other themes to myself as a leader. It's not necessary for you to try to get everything in there. Think of what's important. And by important, think of what you want others to know. What's that one or two things that you want someone else to know about you as a leader, and how can I best illustrate that? That's the goal of that fourth piece, the unique piece. And I'll have another video conference for you when we get to the fifth piece. With that, happy working.